This is a Hot Pie Media original.
She is a correspondent and anchor for CNBC. Last time we talked to her a while back, she was in a basement or something somewhere. This time inside a beautiful home. Dogs, kids, everybody good?
Yeah, the dog's sitting right beside me.
Perfect.
I don't know what I'm going to do when I actually have to go back to the office because she's going to be forlorn and sad.
Yeah, it's kind of another sidebar issue of whether to go back to work or not, and that is separation anxiety.
Right. For me too.
All right, this is a fascinating story that has, and I don't know the answer to this, and you're the expert. It's your world, your business. There's two issues. There's ethical and then there's legal. And to set this up, it reminds me of a time. The CEO, I just bring this up just as an example of what is ethical and what is illegal in terms of touting your business in the name of driving up the stock, right? What is that gray area there? What's unethical and what's illegal? John Mackey, the CEO of Whole Foods, this was before Amazon bought them, I believe. He was outed, I don't even think it's fair to say accused, of going into chat rooms at night under an anonymous name and sort of talking up his company. And I think at times arguing with people about the industry and competitors. And although I don't think he was ever guilty of saying anything that was a lie or incorrect, it was debated whether that's really ethical, whether it was really a good look. Okay, I say that because I think I was listening. What is today? Is today Tuesday? Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday morning, I was listening to your network, not you exactly, or maybe you were in there somewhere, and they were talking about Litecoin. I think most of us at this point, there's so many crypto names, we don't know what to think or believe, right? I'm not going to diss the industry, but it's hard to follow. So the story goes that Litecoin, now correct me in here, Litecoin sends out press releases that Walmart is going to start accepting that crypto Litecoin. Stock goes up. I don't even know how much. Went up to like 220 or something from 170. It shoots up. We find out later that's not true. Is it a world of buyer beware? Don't fall for that stuff. Or is that unethical and or is that illegal?
Well, it's likely illegal because someone fraudulently, at least this is what Global Newswire tells us, right? This is the company that's responsible for putting out the press releases that are written by the companies.
Yeah, you may want to clarify, people, that this seemed very credible in the moment. I mean, your network and most others fell for it. I fell for it. I thought it was legit.
When we see a news release coming out from a big PR newswire company, we give it credence, and maybe news organizations need to be more skeptical, which, we learn that the hard way when we promote something that turns out to be a fake. It's basically like somebody hacked the news. But at any rate, what happened was, according to Global Newswire, someone set up a fake account and churned out this fake news release that said that Walmart would be accepting Litecoin. It didn't really move Walmart stock, but it moved Litecoin. And then what happened was even Litecoin got taken in by it, and someone who works on the social media, they're in an organization, you have lots of people who are responsible for the information that gets put out. Apparently, somebody at Litecoin retweeted it or put the link up to the news release or something. So it came out, and that makes it seem legitimate. Like when it's coming from the company's own account, there's, it's credible. So now what we hear from Global Newswire is that they're going to work with the authorities in any investigation. But let me tell you why this may be not just unethical, but illegal. Because one, you set up a fraudulent account. Two, you put out a fake news release what other intention could you have other than driving up the price of Litecoin? And so if I were the investigator, and I'm not, and if I were a lawyer, and I'm not, so take that with a grain of salt. But the first thing I would do is like, who sold Litecoin when it went up?
Right.
And that's where we're going to start.
As well, you should. I mean, because, well, you've got to start with Litecoin themselves, correct? And say, okay, I'm sorry, folks, but we need to find out who here sold stock in the hours, because this went on for a couple of hours, which is pretty remarkable to me that Walmart didn't jump out within seconds and say, what are you talking about? But isn't there an ethical obligation to say, okay, who sold? Who sold at your shop in this time? And that's not going to say,
But why do you think, what makes you think it was someone internally at Litecoin?
I don't know that, but I think that's the place.
Maybe it's entirely possible that people who work at Litecoin have to go through more rigmarole to buy and sell Litecoin than normal people. And maybe it's not anybody in the organization at all. Maybe it's somebody who happened to buy into Litecoin, who wanted to move the price up so that they could unload some Litecoin and make some cash. And what better way to do it than hack into, and it wasn't even a hack. It was let's set up a fake news account or PR account with Global Newswire and shove out this press release that's just not accurate. I think if you look back at all the fervor over GameStop and the Wall Street bets on Reddit and all the energy and excitement over those stock moves, Congress got involved and they had hearings and they brought in Bad Kitty, who was one of the people that was talking up GameStop so hard because they wanted to know, did you, one, supply false information or information simply because you wanted to move the stock price so that you could get out? Making false information to move the stock price is illegal. You can't do that. I couldn't put out information about any company intentionally illegal. And this is one of the reasons why, by the way, at CNBC, I'm not allowed to own individual stocks. I can buy into mutual funds and invest in my 401k and all that, but I am not allowed to buy and sell.
By the way, CNBC has a higher standard than people in Congress, which I think is pretty despicable.
Or the Fed.
Absolutely. I think exactly. But you're okay. So I'm not saying that I don't know anything about Litecoin. Never heard it until yesterday morning. I'm not saying they committed a crime, but I'm saying there's two ways to look at this. And I think some people listening or watching right now would say, hey, look, man, buyer beware. That's life now. That's just, you got to learn how to deal with that stuff. But how do you answer to that?
Here's the thing. It was removed. One is that it was never listed on Walmart's official corporate website, right?
Right.
So anybody who was skeptical and was like, why would Walmart accept Litecoin? What kind of customer is going to go into Walmart or shop online and be like, you know what? I don't want to use my Visa card. I'm going to use my Litecoin to buy. And why would they choose Litecoin instead of one of the better known cryptocurrencies? Okay, those are big questions you would have right away, right? Litecoin says it tweeted the press release from its official account, and then was retweeted, and it got a lot of attention. That's what makes it seem legitimate. Our report, CNBC's report, came after Litecoin tweeted out the press release, and then in a statement yesterday afternoon, then they're pulling back, saying it was, a team member was too eager and shared the story from the Litecoin Twitter account. Quote, this was quickly deleted. We've taken steps to correct future issues. So that was just an issue of being retweeted. But what about Global Newswire that said, we've never had this happen before, but it was a fraudulent user account used to issue this news release that already they say they've placed enhanced authentication steps in to prevent it from happening again. But they call it isolated.
It's a pretty brilliant. If it's a crime, it should be. It's fraudulent. And what bothers me is that it's sort of like insider trading. People think, oh, whatever. that's just the way it goes. But the market, as you know, works. For every seller, there's a buyer. So somebody out there who is Litecoin a thing? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For every seller, there's a buyer. So they conceivably got screwed out of this. But we live in this weird, as you said, GameStop. I mean, it's just a lot of exhaust now with no real substance. And I wonder if it's just that's the crypto world and you just have to deal with it and learn to sift through, or just stay out altogether. Is there at some level that people say, whatever?
I wouldn't even just relegate it to the crypto world, right? This is a world where information comes at you from all different sources. And it's exhausting to try. I mean, have you ever looked at a Facebook feed and tried to sift through what's real and what's not? And the people who are telling you about vaccines, do they have any real authority or credibility? And then it's a doctor, but a doctor of what? Do you have a plastic surgeon now telling me about infectious diseases? And should I trust that? The problem is that I don't think we have the time anymore to chase down every thread. So you go to sources like the New York Times, maybe, because that's credible, and the journalists are journalists and they're vetting the research. And then when something happens, or Global Newswire, we trust Global Newswire that the news releases that get put out are actually from the companies that intend to put out a news release. And then when you get stung by that, it makes you question whether we should be trusting that. And I think that's true, as a journalist too. I'm pretty.
But the crypto world, it's here to stay, I assume. But the crypto world seems ripe for
speculation.
Yeah. I mean, but it's vomiting information. I like to say politicians vomit words. It's sort of vomiting information, and you have no idea what to sift through.
I think that's true. Plus, it's morphing and changing so fast. I mean, I cover casinos, and so I talk a lot about new technology that's coming down the pike. Crypto is coming to casinos. Already, it's in the works. Already, there are casinos that are working on being able to use your cryptocurrency in your gaming wallet to go and put down a bet on a table, and then when you leave, the money can go back into your crypto wallet. But it's changing fast and furious. Regulators are not really able to keep up with this. And this is one thing that has allowed the crypto market to explode the way it has, is that the regulations they were not written for cryptocurrency.
But what happens, an isolated incident. So what happens now? I'm sure this person exists. So somebody hanging out the house with the dog in their underwear says, wait, Walmart is using Litecoin? Buy. I jump in. I even thought at the moment, I know nothing about this thing, and I'm driving down the road over Lake Austin, and I think, wait a minute here. Really? Game on now. Walmart, you put Walmart in the sentence, then it's game on. It's legit. So people did buy. And so somebody bought it as soon as they heard that, bought it, 58 or bought it 150, and the next thing you know, 3 hours later, it's at 25 or whatever it went down to. It went up and down probably 200%. What does that person do now?
Learn your lesson. Caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Okay.
This is the scenario that we're living in, that you cannot trust everything that you read. You can't just blanket go in and throw your money into an investment that you haven't done due diligence about. And that's, you have people who are way smarter than me, Jeff, ringing the alarm bells about GameStop and some of these other meme stock companies, because they say, where are the earnings? Where is this company making money? Anything else is a trade. You're buying it so you can turn around and sell it at a profit. That's a trade. That's not an investment. And if you're a person who can't stomach the risk and can't stomach the thought of losing your money, then you need to make investments, not trades.
Right. But this investor, this this meme, this Reddit investor of today doesn't live in a world of 3 months from now. Sure the hell doesn't live in a world of a 401k or stuff like that. Everything is in the moment. But in fairness to that investor, they heard Walmart, legit. And if I'm going to buy and sell crypto, it seems like a short-term deal, although crypto experts would say don't do it that way. But it feels like it needs to be a short-term trading process. I heard Walmart, and that is, I mean, I'm trying to buy low and sell high. That seemed like a pretty good research piece in the moment. I mean, I got lied to. So I guess what I'm asking is, in that case, it was a lie. They lied to me that Walmart was going to do this, and I bought it on the belief that Walmart was going to do this. What do I do? I mean, what are my options?
Once you find out who's at fault, maybe you could sue. You can make a civil claim against that person. Good luck with that. I think that we move at the speed of light, right? Trades are now, it's not like the old days where you had to get on the phone with your broker and say, hey, I want you to buy this. And it was, it took a day or 2 days or whatever.
Call up your broker. Wow.
Right.
Anybody remember those days? Is this going to happen more often? I mean, this is kind of a brilliant crime.
Well, it was efficiently done. I think then what happens is everybody's more skeptical the next time. Anybody who got burned by this is more skeptical the next time and takes more time to research, to back it up, to send it out. Do you just jump on the air anymore with a news release in hand? Maybe not, unless it came from companies and people within the companies that you know well. I don't know. I'm not in charge of even my organization's stance on that and policy on that. I just think it's one reason why anybody who's in charge of advising people over investments tells you that these snap decisions, those impulse decisions, especially if it's money that you can't afford to lose, there is a higher amount of risk. It's a gamble.
How long did it take Walmart to react that you know of? I mean, I know that they're not in the moment, but that's kind of a big, I would think the phone would ring at the office and somebody says, wait, we're taking Litecoin? Huh? Did it take them a while to hear it and correct it? I gotta believe they were blindsided.
Oh, for sure.
Those are cool lights, by the way. I like the lights.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm back in New York City.
Okay.
Now the challenge is not, the children, because now the children are back at school in person.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Now the challenge is the street noise and the swearing that goes on right outside my windows and all that. I don't see how long it took Walmart to react.
Yeah.
The news came out. It says that Global Newswire issued a notice to disregard a couple hours after Litecoin had retweeted the press release. CNBC, by the way, had a write-up on this after Litecoin retweeted the press release. So that was the thing. That was the moment, if I'm putting myself in the shoes of the people who made the decision, and I don't know this, but that was the thing that legitimized it, not just the Global Newswire putting it out, which is a credible source. We trust Global Newswire that they're putting out news releases from actual companies. And so it was just a series of gates that failed to close on this particular person. By
the way, what happens what is the next 6 months to a year when it comes to regulations, if there are any, of the crypto world? Well, you hear people dance around it all the time. I don't really ever hear anybody come up with any idea or specific legal issue to pinpoint.
I think the wagons are circling on that front. The thought, and I don't cover cryptocurrency specifically, so I'm I'm taking this from conversations that I've had with my colleagues who know more about it than I do. But the thought is that this just can't be an unregulated Wild West forever, that Congress needs to come up with some kind of approach for cryptocurrency, because if it's a financial vehicle, then it needs to be regulated the way that we regulate credit cards and cash and bank transfers and any way of moving money. If it's an investment vehicle, that's also regulated, and maybe the SEC needs to have some oversight there, because for sure, the Fed chairman says cryptocurrency is a vehicle for speculation. And you want to speculate, go ahead. But real estate can be a vehicle for speculation too, and it's regulated. People have to know what the rules are.
Yeah.
You got to know what the rules are going in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's too easy to get cheated.
Yeah. Changing the subject to the gambling. John McClellan is the co-founder and creator of ATX Hot Sauce, now in all 50 states and several retail outlets as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to let this social media rock star chef walk us through 4 different sauces, and then I'll taste and we'll tell everyone why they should buy. You can give the science behind these, and then I'll make the simple recommendation. Go to atxhotsauce.com. All right,
I don't think
let's
anybody's
go.
heard the website.
Yeah, I know.
About you, Jeff,
I've never heard
it is
that.
atxhotsauce.com.
I'll say
I got that one right.
345 times, atxhotsauce.com. So let's do it.
I brought 4 flavors here, and we're going to test your palate today.
Okay.
And I only brought 4 because I didn't think you could handle 5 or 6.
Yes,
probably a smart move. Yeah. And so the first one we're going to try here, it's called Beet Heat. And just like the name implies, it has beets in it. It's made with red Fresno peppers. Red Fresnos are red peppers that are they're hotter than a jalapeno and a little bit less than a serrano. So not super hot here, just a lot of really good flavor. So we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to move up the chain.
Okay. I've had the Beet Heat, but okay.
Yeah, we're going to try it though.
It goes well with a cab. All right, Jeff's savoring Beet
I'll
Heat.
even do it with you, so that should be all right. Now remember, it is hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's hot sauce. Trust me, man.
Wait,
It's hot sauce.
is that one hot to you?
No, a little.
Yeah. The great thing with the fermentation process is you get a bunch of the flavor right up front.
Yeah.
And then the heat comes, but then it dissipates pretty quickly, especially with the red Fresnos. This is not a very spicy one, but it is a very tasty one. Goes on great on sandwiches.
Beet Heat.
Beet Heat. B-E-E-T. Heat.
All right. Go to atxhotsauce.com.
That's right.
What I'm bad at, you're apparently good at, and what you cover. It's reported now that the NFL has hit an all-time high in legal gambling. I mean, not only have the games been ridiculously entertaining, I mean, everything the NFL, even in a COVID world, everything it touches turns to gold. And now we're betting more than ever before. Explain.
Yeah, part of the reason is because more states have legalized it. We have 5 more states where sports betting is legal than we did last year. Part of it is it makes the games more exciting.
Yeah.
They know that fans are way more engaged if they have a little skin in the game. If you got money riding on whether somebody makes a touchdown or not, you're going to be watching more closely and have more enthusiasm. So it makes football more fun. Part of it is that the NFL has so fully embraced it. I mean, talk about a 180.
Yeah.
This was a league that fought tooth and nail against legalizing sports betting. And then once the Supreme Court overturned this law that basically kept states from permitting sports gambling.
Except in Texas.
No, the state can permit it. They just haven't.
Okay.
They are permitted.
Absolutely, right. Yes. It's the devil in Texas. The devil.
The strange thing for me about Texas is this, like, where masks or vaccines are concerned, it's all about your individual right to make a decision that's best for yourself.
Right. Except on cannabis and and betting. Correct. And
women's bodies.
Yeah. Welcome.
It it's not logical.
Nope.
The approach isn't logical.
No, that's correct.
At any rate, I digress into something much more controversial.
Yeah.
But I do think, there are companies that I cover that are very intent on seeing a more permissive approach to gambling in Texas. Let's see if they're successful in lobbying their way into a state law that, allows it.
So the NFL is just brilliant. It's just a brilliantly run industry that, as you said, it pivoted. I remember years ago, not all that long ago, there are signs in the locker room about gambling. Signs. I mean, because the drawing line between wrestling and professional sports is pro sports you cannot give the hint that it's fixed or it becomes wrestling. But right. I think the NFL has figured out the money is so big, there's no risk anymore of a fix. I don't need to fix a game now. I make enough money. I don't need to do that. And so I think as you said, they fully embraced it. And
they're working on responsible gambling. Like there's, this issue of responsible gambling is there such a thing?
Is there such a thing?
Yes, there is. And you know what? On mobile gaming, it makes it easier because people can go in. If you know that you have a problem gambling, you can go in ahead of time and set limits on yourself that you can't break on mobile gambling. They have it at casinos too. If you know you're a problem gambler, you can go and register, and the casinos will help babysit you. But on mobile, it's even easier to limit yourself and to say, I can only afford to lose this much money, and there's no going back to an ATM and getting more.
I can't move the settings. I can't go, I really like Dak Prescott tonight. I'm going to move the settings just this once.
No, I don't. I've never registered for the.
Just this once, I want to move the settings. Please let me move the settings. I know they're going to win.
But I think that's the important part. I mean, that's what the regulators want to see. That's what the industry wants to see. They say they don't make money on problem gamblers. They make money on people who can keep coming back. And you can't do that if you're losing your house at the casino.
It's a 126% increase over a year ago in legal gambling. How long before? So it's 5 states. If you're betting, how many next couple of years, how many more states? And then you have to bet on how long before Texas?
Well, there's 9 states where sports gambling is now legalized but hasn't yet launched.
Okay.
So take, for instance, the biggest of them, population-wise, is Florida. And so that's supposed to launch October 15th. There's some court hearings that might stand in the way of Florida getting there because right now the compact with the state has given pretty much exclusivity to the Seminole tribe. That's the tribe that owns Hard Rock brand. And so some of the pari-mutuels in Florida are suing, saying, no, you're allowing the tribe to offer gambling off of tribal land, which is illegal. And the tribe's arguing, well, the servers are on tribal land, so it's not illegal. We'll see how this all plays out.
So would I be able to bet on my phone there, or are we talking about only in-person bets?
Mobile. Mobile's going to, yeah. And they're expanding gambling too, so that if you go to the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale or Tampa or wherever, you now will be able to play roulette. You might be able to play craps. Those table games that were never illegal before are now legalized in the state as well. But that's going to be a huge. I mean, Florida is considered one of the super states, along with New York, Texas, and California. There's so much population there that if you give access, sports betting wise, to anybody who wants it, or the online casino games, which are really, that's where the revenue is going to come from. That's the thing that drives the money much greater. And in mature sports betting markets like the UK, what they know is that sports betting is the acquisition vehicle. This is how they get the customer. They do all these promotions around the sporting event. Somebody's like, this is fun. I'm going to sign up for an account. And then once they're in there, they get exposed to the online casino games. And that's where the real money is. It's not in the sports bets.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay. So somehow the margins are greater. Okay. It's sort of like the...
Not just the money's greater. The actual amount of money that gets played on online casino games is like something in the neighborhood of 7 times more than sports betting.
You know, a few years ago about the NFL, the question is, are owners embracing this? I think the answer is yes. I mean, last night, the game in Vegas, I mean, don't they have betting kiosks inside the stadium or something like that? It's a cool stadium, too. Are owners embracing this and pushing more and more and more? And I would think since they're the most powerful fraternity on the planet, I would think that they would start lobbying more states to go ahead and do this because it's good, right? It's good for their business. And number two, I remember a few years ago, not that long ago, there was a player who was fined and suspended for doing a charity arm wrestling competition at MGM because the NFL was not going to let players even close. Tony Romo, when he was retired, couldn't do a fantasy conference at a casino in Vegas because the NFL didn't want the look of a player getting anywhere near it. So, one, you got owners fully embracing it, but the NFL won't tolerate a player embracing it. How long before a player gets to say, hey, come out to MGM or whatever?
Well, Tom Brady's wife serves on the board of, she's like the ESG advisor to DraftKings.
She is?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, no offense, but wow. Okay. She's up on the board of DraftKings.
I think she's their advisor on, environmental social governance.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Blah.
Or ambassador.
Yeah. Okay. Like
But
she
she's
doesn't
got
have enough money?
Got a role apparently not.
Yeah.
By the way, and speaking of the about face, how about the fact that the Cardinals in Arizona actually own the gaming license? They're
What?
in partnership with, yes. In Arizona, the licenses were awarded to the sports teams. And so then a company like MGM had to go and partner with the sports team in order to get the license. So you've got Caesars is with the Diamondbacks, I think, and MGM is partnering with the Cardinals. So the Cardinals actually own a gaming license and hold the gaming license.
It's brilliant. I mean, it's kind of disturbing, but it's brilliant. So can a player get involved? Can a player, can Brady, I mean, I'll forget Brady. Just your average schmo wants to tout a casino in Florida or a casino in Arizona.
I don't know. And it probably I don't know if that's an NFL, something that the NFL has tackled yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the players themselves being part of the gambling promotions, but I don't have the answer to that. It's an interesting conundrum, but really once the NFL is making money on it, the players are going to be like, well, if you can make money on it, then why can't I make?
I know at one time it was a risk that enough money from the black market could influence a player. There's no reason for a player to ruin his gig now. I mean, you would be crazy to get involved in the black market or illegal gambling because you can do well enough as it is. You don't need it.
Right. I mean, I think that they're probably still going to frown on players gambling on their own games or any, I don't.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
Over under on legalized sports betting in the state of Texas. Number of years.
I give it, I don't know. It depends on how strong Jerry Jones comes out in favor of sports gambling. Doesn't he have a lot of pull in Texas? I heard
Yeah, he does. That's a good question. I don't know where. I know he owns part of one of the fantasy.
Although, I think if you're the richest sports owner in the world, I think the Dallas Cowboys are the most valuable sports franchise in the world.
Yes.
Then maybe it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Forget Jones and just say he's too old and he's drooling on himself and has no say one way or the other. Over, under on legalized betting in the state of Texas because it's going to happen in, 9 more states?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would be a shame for Texas to be the lone holdout. Then it would be not the lone star state, but the lone holdout state.
Cannabis, cannabis is legal everywhere. Not here. Sinful. Devil.
Do you smell it when you're walking down the streets of Austin? Do you smell pot? Because in New York, in Boston, everywhere else
you smell it?
Travel. Oh yeah.
Really?
Everywhere.
Huh. I mean, yeah, I guess when I'm down the hike and bike trail or something like that, I mean, yeah, I suppose. But Austin, of course, to the rest of the state and the Texas legislature is the devil. Austin's a bad place, except it's generating all the income in the state, and it's the only place that's functioning well. But otherwise, it's the devil. So you don't think it's going to happen? It'll be most of the country will have legalized sports betting on your phone.
On your phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I think by 2026, definitely by 2030, I think most gambling is going to be possible on your phone. And I think that, just in the rush for state revenue, once you start seeing people going to other states the way New York has, and by the way, and New York has been very inefficient about its rollout. But, if people can just cross the river and gamble, and New Jersey gets all those tax dollars, not New York, you don't want that.
Yeah. That logic doesn't work here.
Right.
It just that's logic. I mean, that's complete logic. People are going to do it for cannabis. People are going to do it for betting. People already do it, and it still won't matter to politicians here. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They don't care about the money. They used to care about the money. They no longer, I'm telling you, no longer care about the money.
Well, so what is it? I really honestly don't understand.
I don't
what
either.
It is.
I rant about them every day. I don't eat. What matters to them, let me put this in terms you can appreciate. What matters to them is a MAGA voter. And that MAGA voter is actually turned into anti-big corporations, anti-big money. It's a rural, pissed off vote. That's what they care about. Just make that dude angry, and that's good enough. Wow. That went over well.
I mean,
that went over so well.
You have to get a vote, right? If you want to keep your job.
I mean, you're going to give, and this is not, it's not the way to get a vote. Amazingly, this kind of stuff is not the way to get votes. I don't know why. I mean, it makes perfect sense to 90% of the people. It's not a vote getter. I don't know why. So.
Well, in other places, they've decided that it's not so, even there are opponents to gambling in every state that I cover, but the opponents and their concerns about problem gambling, which is usually what it is, or, they'll argue that the impact of a casino brings down property values because it attracts a lower, which is just, in the places where these new casinos go in, usually they have nice restaurants and, it's an entertaining night out, and it sort of like lifts, or at least that's the aim, No, I mean, we don't even really have no sensible debate. There's no pros and cons that are ever floated or legitimately debated. It's just total ranting. There's no real common sense. All right. Well, then in that case for Texas, I'm going to say 2050.
Yeah, same here. No, I was going 2050. That's probably right.
I don't have a good sense on that, other than I don't know why the casino companies that I know who are trying to get into Texas would do it if they thought it was a lost cause. They're not, you're not going to go after this. It's not a Hail Mary for them to go and invest $1 billion in trying to ensure that, it becomes legal so that you can go in and build
and they are trying, right? I mean, that they are trying. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're not stupid. I mean, but it's such a big prize if you ever could pull it off.
No. Texas and California are sort of the holy grail of gambling. And I would say Texas for sports betting, potentially even more, because the sports fans in Texas are so avid and engaged and paid attention, even without sports gambling. Can you imagine what it would be like if you could bet on a game in your home state?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that legislators don't grapple with is the fact that if you want to gamble on sports in Texas, you're already doing it, because there's all kinds of ways you can do it illegally.
Right.
And again, then Texas is not getting the money, and neither are the casino companies that get taxed and pay and employ people in this country. It all goes to offshore illegal betting sites.
Yeah, no, I all that is too much common sense there. You would drive yourself crazy here with all that logical
Well, that's
thinking.
what they call me. They call me Common Sense Contessa.
They do. Is that right?
I just made it up, but now I'm going to go with it.
You know
Yeah,
what? The
I'm
dog,
sure
you got to be proud. The dog is amazingly well behaved.
Can I show you her?
Yeah, let's see. Let's check her out.
Okay.
Look at that. Now are you kidding me? That's awesome.
I mean,
look at her.
And how can you be stressed out at work?
Yeah.
Whoops. What did I do? How can you be stressed out at work if that's your office mate?
Yeah. There's something to that. Now we're all going to be really upset to find out when you go back to work. We're going to be really upset for her.
I know.
You're not going to, I don't think you're going to handle it well. I'm
not going to.
Yeah.
No.
You can ship the kids off on the bus this morning, but now you can't leave the dog like that. I mean, look at her.
Are you going golfing today? Are you you're going to finish the show and go hit some balls? Because you look very golfer, you've got your Nike Swoop polo shirt on. You're ready to go hit the links.
Links. Yes, a lot of links courses here in Texas, right by the ocean in Austin, where there's a hurricane a couple hundred miles from here. Yeah. No links golf for me today. No, I just happened to have the shirt on. Yeah. I was just trying to go for the look. That's all. I just wanted someone to say, you know what, you look like a golfer.
I could totally see it. Are you wearing plaid right now?
Plaid pants, yeah, and the golf shoes. Yeah, I wear the golf shoes into work too with the socks also. I have a visor. I'm going to put on for the next hour of the show, and I'm going to wear a golf glove too while I'm doing this show. I'm going to have the golf glove on.
I gotta say right now, you're making me really want to go grab my clubs and go out and golf.
Yeah, go play in the links there, right outside your window there. Go hit some balls.
Right off into the East River.
How far are you from the nearest golf course?
I can go hit balls off the Chelsea Pier.
Really? You pay for that? You just hit the balls in the water?
No, they've got a big, driving range.
Like a Top Golf?
Yeah, but
do you drink and do that?
Instead of hitting into the green,
you're
hitting to the river,
like a big funnel. That's lame.
No, that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And I think on Roosevelt Island in the middle of the East River, so between Manhattan and Queens, you can go and hit some balls. There's a little island on it.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to wait until someone invites me to their private club. Go out to Baltusrol.
Yeah.
Shinnecock.
Yeah. I just wear the gear hoping somebody invites me, but they usually don't. I mean, that's why I just wear it every day, hoping somebody in this office complex would say, "Hey, you're a golfer. You want to go out?"
Who are you looking at right now that you're hoping will invite you golfing?
The dentist down the hall. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, dentist. I don't think he does much at all. He just stands around with a mask on all day when I look in the window. I think that guy, he looks like he's playing golf today. So I'm hopeful one day he's going to look over and say, "Hey, talk show host, why don't we go play golf together and get some cocktails?"
He probably thinks the same thing about you. He goes, "That guy does nothing. He just sits there."
I don't do anything. Exactly. What does the golfer guy do walking in this building every day? Like, what does that guy do? Everyone else here has a job. There's lawyers, there's dentists, and then there's that golfing dude. Yeah.
This is really a fascinating conversation.
Yeah. All right. Good talking to you. Pet the dog. Don't leave her.
Okay.
Just don't. I don't think it's going to go well. All right. Good talking to you. Good seeing you.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.